Hi, welcome back to another TerranScapes video. This video going to finally return to the GW Chapel modification that I've been working on. This is part of, if you're new to the channel, welcome to the channel. And if you are new, you may want to go back and see the previous videos where I talk about this building in a little bit more, detail, obviously, the work that has been done. And I'll put a playlist on my channel for this project so that, if I can remember, it will at least be relatively updated with the newest video. And this video will go in that playlist as soon as I get ready to upload it. So this is basically the chapel from the Fortified Manor kit from Games Workshop, and I'm modifying it to create a large sort of showcase terrain piece for the Unplugged Gamers GT next year. So I've got a lot of time to work on it, but I've got a lot that I want to do, and I said I was going to update this every week, and that's completely unrealistic, partly because I have so many videos that I want to shoot and I can only do so many a month, and because I'm working on it very, hither and thither. All of a sudden I'll sit down and I'll do like 2 nights in a row of 3 or 4 hours a night, and then I might not pick it up for a week. So it's a little stop and go, so it's not really suitable for, I'm going to update it every week, but I do want to update it frequently. Bi-weekly? We'll see. In any case, I have done quite a bit of work on it since the last time we took a look at it, so let me take you over and I'll show you what work I did and what I think about it. So there's actually been quite a few changes since the last time I posted anything, and it's hard to say where exactly to start, so maybe I'll just start front to back. Of course, if you have seen this project and you have been following it, you know that there has been some, we'll call it the roof controversy, whereby the way I had the roof without this piece, the water would pool up, and then I added some drain pipes. Then a viewer mentioned, why not just continue this roof line forward? Now, some people had mentioned that, but at least the way I interpreted it was having the whole line go forward and then a straight drop to meet it. And I wanted an alternate roof angle to kind of break up the, the shape of the building. And when this other viewer mentioned continuing this, I realized that that's going to look really nice. And it helps tie in the, it ties this roof in without having a little bit of an odd gap here. And one of the concerns that I had was that scale-wise, this transition here seemed a little bit abrupt. And so you'd be kind of like coming up the stairs. There's Mr. McTippy here, Sir Tippy McLean. And you'd be, whatever. The GW buildings are never to scale anyway, but let's just pretend this has a shot at being to scale. I don't even know if the door is to scale, barely. All right, so, but if we can envision him climbing stairs to go up, at this point, right, it's quite a pinch height-wise, and it just didn't feel right. So as soon as I got the idea of adding that in, it really helps carry the sort of roof line, the head space, if you will, into this secondary structure. That took a little while because I had to cobble these pieces together, and I tried really hard, and let's see here, I tried really hard to get these to tile right with this. It's not perfect, but it came out pretty well. And the other side, just to show you what that looked like. And getting those pieces to fit right and to make the angle here, and, to get the taper to match the existing roof, and to get the center straight, and, it took me a stupid amount of time. But I think it was worth it. And it's a learning experience, so I'm okay with that. Let's see. Then, coming across, if you recall, I had some windows that I had cast and glued onto the sides, and I had some concerns about how this building has so much texture and how this building was so flat, this section. And I don't know exactly where I got the idea, but all of a sudden I was taken aback by the look of it and said, forget it. And I stripped off the old windows, ground them off with my Dremel, and then built, boxed out windows to complement this look. And I feel like they're a little bit large compared to these. And so the scale is starting to get out of proportion. I'm not sure. And these took a long time to do because I wanted to have, so let's see here, we can, probably would be better on the close cam for this. And I need a pointer. Let's see here. There we go. So, let's see here. Backwards to me. So I wanted the windows to have depth to them. So I built these styrene window sills, let's call them, and I did them in 2 thicknesses so the inside would sit recessed. And then for the cross beams, right, I have 2 depths of wood. And my experience has been multiple layers really add a lot of realism and interest to a structure, right? If I had just had one flat piece for the window sills, no cross pieces, maybe a single cross piece, it's just not going to have the same kind of impact that these multiple layers do. And even, at the bottom, right, I've got the bottom of the window plus a sill plus another layer to give it more dimensionality. I mean, that's really it. Really, though, for the amount of work I put into these, I'm extremely disappointed, and I'll never do it this way again. I basically cut into the balsa foam. This is a balsa foam facade behind it, and this is the expanded PVC on the outside. I cut a slot to receive the styrene, which I bent and then glued into place. Keeping it bent, fitting it into the slot, while it's set up, making sure that the both of them were, snug to each other. It was a crazy laborious process, and they're not even uniform. This one's bowing out. This one, I'll never do it again like this. Never. I will cut some kind of a template out of the silver bullet for the next building using something that can cut regular lines, because this, I don't want to say it emotionally crushed me, but for the amount of work I put into it, I'm going to be praying nobody actually looks at it when it's done. But that's just me, I guess. But I always say the human eye sees right angles and unified, symmetric, I should say, the human eye sees symmetry really, really well. And so when something is asymmetric, it just jumps out, and these do not all match up. So in any case, once I had done that, then I carved in, we'll stay on this side for a second, then I cut a piece of balsa foam and carved in roof shingles. And I didn't want to cast another section of roof to add to the top of it. And it's good practice for me. I think they came out all right. I give them in my mind, I give them a B for roof shingles. Coming around the back, this was mentioned to me as well by a viewer to add some roof shingles to the top of this piece. I thought that finished it actually quite well. And also, I had a viewer, well, at least an emailer, contact me about the silver bullet, whether the silver bullet can cut, how thick of styrene can it cut. I didn't know the answer to that, so I decided to find out. So this window, let's do this on the close cam here. You know what? Wait a minute. Wait. Let's just do that. Okay, that's better. So the window is cut from 0.03 styrene, both layers, and I really tried, let's just do this here for a second. Oh God, if I break one of those off. So here's the original window that I'm using as a sort of template, as a model, if you will. And I tried to size it really close to that, and I missed a little bit, but that's not really, I wasn't really too concerned about it. Looks a little bit more like a porthole than a window, but, it's fantasy. But this is 0.03 styrene, and so is this. And so what I did is I had this silver bullet, cut the circle out of the inside with the inside diameter matching the inside diameter of this piece. And then I had it cut out this centerpiece in here. Now, it does it. It does it, and it does it fairly well. This is about as thick as I think you can go, especially for small detailed bits. It was kind of weird because I had trouble cutting the outside of this out, but the center just popped right out. Selection of the right blade, being patient with the amount of pressure. People who are watching this right now are saying, what the hell's he talking about, this silver bullet thing? I have discussed it in previous videos. It is a die cutter. I will be doing a video on it once I feel like I understand everything that I want to understand about it. This piece moves me closer to that goal. The nice thing about it is there's no way you're ever going to freehand cut a perfect circle. No way. Not out of 0.03. I don't know. Maybe you can do it. I'll never do it. So this gave me an option to do this, and I think it really shows a lot of the potential on what could be done. Then, to finish the window, I used, oh gosh, I can't remember what size these are. These are styrene rounds, and I glued them and cut them to fit. That was fiddly. That was fiddly. And again, that's not, look at that, that's not straight. I gave it up, though. I said, this one, I was okay letting go. I said, get it as straight as you can, be done. I probably should have cut them just a hair smaller and been just a little bit more patient before I tried to jam them in here, and then it would start, you know, pulling pieces apart, and it was, you know, anyway, Then I used the nutter, which I have discussed before. A review of that will be coming up down the road to make the rivets to come out. These are doubled rivets, and it's basically a hand die punch to punch out rivets, but it makes kind of nice ones out of aluminum, and that's what those are there. So, coming around to the other side. So, once I had the windows done, then I realized I still have this space in between the windows and the rest of the building. And in hindsight, I think it might have been easiest to just make this centered on the wall, but I didn't. And it's okay, it provides an opportunity. So what are we going to do with this space? I mean, clearly when you look at this building, right, there are not huge voids, although there's a little bit here on the front, right? So we can have some open space, but, you know, I want something interesting and something that's going to, you know, a certain amount of detail gives an overall impression, right? You want more tiny details because that shows, you know, that it's worth looking at, worth coming up close to see the small bits. That's the way I interpret it. So what I did is I put in this smokestack, and this gave me another opportunity to try out some new things. It's not done yet, and first I'll show you what I did. Let's take a quick look here on the uppy closey cam. All right. Oh, all right. That's a good enough view, probably. So I modeled this on this feel here, right? There's this wooden piece here, and then it's got a little icon behind it here. I'm not going to try to show you that. Then it's the chimney, you know, sort of has a bracket that mounts onto that. I don't know, maybe metal. It's a little weird, but in any case, there's this wood plate behind here, and so I thought, well, let's do something similar to that. So I cut a piece of balsa foam out to fit this kind of space a little bit more and take up some of it. Carved it like it's wood. Put on a little metal bracket here. This is going to get rivets. Doesn't have any rivets yet. Then used a styrene tube to make the pipe. A little heat lets you bend it. I had to bend it a couple times, and at the end you can see it's a little crooked, and the mount at the faceplate was pretty messed up as well. But I said roll with it, roll with it. I'm trying not to get too neurotic about it. And then I finally got, I mentioned in the last video, I think, about getting styrene that has the same inside diameter as this has for an outside diameter, so I could slip it over to make these I don't know, what do you call these, brackets or you know, reinforcement rings. All right, so you know, these are pretty common all throughout a lot of GW's sort of fantasy themed buildings. So I decided that I should get that styrene and stop messing around. So I got that, makes it a lot faster. Slice them off, stick them on, little super glue, away you go. Then, now these are going to get rivets too, right? I got to put rivets on it to match, you know, the rivets on here. And then I wanted to cap it with something that looks a little more interesting. Again, I don't want to just put a little, you know, a little cone on top or, you know, something like that. If I can, I'd like to do more. So what I did actually is I got my Dremel out and I glued a piece of balsa foam, like a rectangle, to a piece of 1/8" styrene rod, slipped that into the Dremel, spun it up like a lathe, and then I lathed out this little piece at the top here for the cap for the top of the chimney. I was kind of looking at, let's see here, let's see if I do it like that, there we go. All right, well, you get the idea here. You know, so I was looking at these and the sort of fluted shape that they have and the sort of, you know, right, we have a depth change here. Again, this adds interest to it. And I thought, all right, I'm just going to let it work itself and see what happens. So I kind of just spun it up and started, you know, lathing it away with a needle file, actually. You have to be careful. It actually cuts right through it pretty fast. First one I did, I had a little bit of a different shape, and then I broke it because I was applying too much pressure, and the balsa foam join right at the edge is pretty weak, so you have to be gentle. But then I got another one on there, spun it up, just kind of let the lathe process take its form, and I think that's a pretty cute little topper there. It's not exactly what I had in mind, but I like it. And then I soaked it with some super glue just to make it a little stronger because balsa foam is pretty fragile, but once you soak it, it's almost impervious. And then, you know, that gave me the opportunity to drill out an actual hole in it. So I carved out that hole, and that really gave me some very nice ideas for how I'm going to do the chimney up top. Because as I mentioned before, I want to have a chimney coming up out of here. I'll be using this one as a guide thematically for it, but I haven't come up with any final designs or ideas on it. And but I'm getting close to it now. And so being able to create interesting tops using balsa foam and the Dremel, love it. So much possibility there. So much possibility. I can't wait to try the next ones. That's why the chimney is the last thing I'll be working on, because I don't know why, but it feels like a treat to me. Why is a chimney a treat? I don't have an answer for that. All right. And then coming back around, we're just about done with all the work that's been done to date. I think people have been very curious about what's happening at the bottom of this building. People were like, it needs supports. And then I put in the wood, and I wonder if people thought that was enough. And I'm sure some other people thought it needed more. And I mentioned putting in some columns and showed you these before. Well, I finally did it, and I put them on. Again, I don't know. They're nice, but they're heavy visually. And I think that takes away from them. I was kind of basing them, you know, style-wise on these, and I thought these looked too small, so I bulked them up a little bit, and they just feel a little big. I'm not doing them over again. I said I wouldn't grind the windows off, and I did it. So I can't say 100% that I'm not going to take these off, but let's put it at the 98% confidence level, because I've spent so much time on this building and I have like a whole bunch of other pieces to work on, so I can't just keep stripping stuff off. But then what I did is I made some top caps for it, and I was thinking about trying to make a top cap that matches this, and I put on a part of balsa foam, then I started carving it, and then I just ended up with this sort of top cap that's more all-encompassing rather than having, like, say, two faces coming off of it. Now, the interesting thing about this, which was a disappointment but a learning opportunity as well, is that I really wanted perfectly joined 45-degree seams along these corners. And I bought a new tool. It's, oh gosh, I can't remember. It's the Sand It. There's a name for it. I'll talk about it later. But it allows you to do precise sanding. But the problem I was having is that the original block of balsa foam, the rectangle that I would carve, sand the 45-degree angle on, was not square to start with. That's kind of a helpful thing to have, a square piece of stock. And these pieces were very, very short, so it was very hard to keep them flat. So it's not like the tool I was using had a problem. It was more the way I went about actually tackling it. So that's fine. I can fill these gaps. I just really wanted to prove to myself that I could do it, because I will have other projects coming up where I want perfect seams. And I just need to revisit that a little bit more and think about how I can do that. Now that these are, sort of done virtually, right, I've got to do some filling, and then I actually need to do some distressing. You can see I did a little bit on these, but going back and actually taking a look at the originals to use those as a guide, there's quite a bit of chipping and whatnot on them. And of course, there's also, these larger cracks in the walls. So I need to add that into areas. And I mentioned before, but I haven't done them yet, I need to add nails. So you can see, in the wood here, right, there's all these nails that are actually rather large. So I need to put nails into all of the wood all around the building. And then once I have all of that done, and I might even do all the seams, all the gap filling. Thank you to everybody again for the milliput suggestion. That's what I've been using for other things, and that's what I will be using. But there's going to be, gaps. There's plenty of gaps in this building that need work. And, of course, the ones by the dormers I mentioned. And there's joins that aren't smooth. And I really would like to see if I can clean this up and get it really, really polished looking. So, that's the chapel as it stands right now. So no more major modifications. Things I really liked, my chimney topper, the roof join, really like how that came out. Very happy about the window and the options to be able to do work like that. Grateful for the suggestion for the shingles. Things that I don't like, I don't like how these windows came out. They're too much out of scale. They're not symmetrical. Man, this window, it hurts me. It hurts me to look at it. I'm not going to look at it anymore. I'm going to turn it around. I'm going to cry when I paint it just looking at that all day. And so, little iffy on those, and little too much power on the supports in the back here, the columns, but not terribly too bad. I won't go back and change those. A couple other small bits are going to go on here. I have some little skull cross bits that I've cast from one of the other buildings, so I'm going to pop a couple on the side here. Probably just pop one on the top of the dormer here. Oh, this isn't the dormer. What is this? Oh God. I don't know. Below the peak of the roof. I'm not even going to look it up and put it as an annotation. Whatever this spot is. And then once I detail the walls, it's pretty much done. So, and the nails. I got to do the nails. I think that's going to go fast, though. So anyway, there we are. Definitely evolving. Plenty more work to do. And I don't know whether the next building will have as much added to it as this one has, but I have to say it's kind of fun. So maybe it will. I've got some ideas. I want practice making these seams. I've got a big project coming up down the road, and I want to be able to make tight seams for buildings. And in order to do that, I've got to get a grip on this, and I'd like to be able to do like a hexagonal join that's a nice tight seam for a wall. Not easy with the tools I have at hand. So the Sand It I can use, I think, to make a new tool to help me do that. And so I have the one of the other towers. I don't know. It's not the Dreadstone Blight. I don't know. No, because that's round. Anyway, it's their hexagonal tower with the giant skulls. I was thinking about making, just like this, a little hexagonal building that comes off of it to match its theme as well. we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. But it would be good practice for those joins. All right. Well, hope you enjoyed the little tour. And, you know, of course, plenty more work to show next time we get together. So, a lot of work. Some okay, and some I really like. And some of it is really because of you, my viewers, because you send me great suggestions and you tell me, have you thought about this, and what about that spot, and have you tried that? So, you know, I always say that you are a resource to me, and I thank you. It's more than just coming and watching my videos. It's also contributing to my channel and making me a better artist. So I really appreciate that. So thank you for taking the time to join me. Questions and comments, always welcome. Leave them down below. And I will be trying to shoot a question and answer. I actually already shot it once, and I had to throw it away because of the old bad audio, and I literally had to throw it away. It's like I couldn't even let it run because it was unintelligible. But I got new gear. Ooh, I'm liking it so far. I'm liking it. And I want to reshoot the Q&A because some people have sent me some questions, some good ones, and I'm trying not to let them sit for 8 months before I answer them. So if you want to send a question, right, there's some tag here that has the email address if you want to send a question to the Q&A. Before you do, if you're new, I recommend going and checking out the other Q&As. They are in a playlist, and I have gone back and put in the description all of the questions that were asked and the timestamp for them. So you may skim the descriptions real quick and just see if your question's already been asked. And if it hasn't, feel free to send it to me. And I think that's it. I don't want to forecast any more beyond that. I used to teach middle school science, and the rule of thumb is never tell the kids what you're going to do, because they're going to try and hold you to it, and teaching is constantly in flux. If the way I run things, it's always in flux. So I said I'd do a Q&A. Maybe. I think there's a good chance of it, though. Anyway, ramble. Thank you, really, once again for joining me, and stay tuned to the channel, because I will be back soon with another TerranScapes video.